Good Saturday morning. Welcome to this week's weekly weather briefing. It is Saturday, October the 28th, 2017, our last weekly weather briefing for the month of October. So that means that later on today I will be issuing my November forecast. We have a lot to get through when it comes to that. But for this, we have a fairly short video for today on the weekly weather briefing. Right now, we have some very low stratus clouds, which was in the forecast predicted for today, but it wasn't really sure where those stratus clouds were going to set up, whether it would be across portions of southeast Illinois and northwest Kentucky, and then covering majority of Illinois and Indiana, or would it stretch further south like it is and move into portions of the Purchase area, which is what it is doing. So that means that the temperature forecast for today is going to come down just a couple of degrees, which means that we could be looking at high temperatures today only in the mid 40s instead of the upper 40s to lower 50s. And so, with these low stratus clouds in place, as we usually do in October and November, these clouds move in. They're very hard to move and very hard to shake out. So, expect more of this over the next couple of weeks, especially as we move closer into the season of winter. But at least right now, this does look like it is going to hold for the rest of the afternoon because these are moving southeast, and so we have plenty of clouds still locked in across the northern portion of our region. So this means that these will continue to move and rotate around our upper level low that is situated across the Midwest right now. Looking forward to this upcoming week, we do have our first weather maker coming in after what we had yesterday. We look at our first weather maker that we are going to be keeping our eye on moves in around midweek. This does not look to affect Halloween, and I will show you that right here where we do have our forecast soundings. Usually when we have your green line is your dew point line, and your red line is your temperature line. And right here is the surface. As you go up, you're going higher up into the atmosphere. So what you're seeing here is these two are totally very far apart. This would be for around midnight on Halloween. So this would actually be around 12 a.m. November the 1st. So this is late Halloween night, early November 1st in the morning, and we see some very dry air in place. When the dew point and the temperature is this far from each other at the surface, that usually means that we have some very dry air at the surface, what we call virgas. So if we have any showers moving into the area around, trick or treat time on Halloween night, I don't think that they're going to actually reach the ground. The raindrops won't because we will have such dry air at the surface. So you might see some raindrops on radar when you're trick or treating Halloween night, but I don't think that any of those are going to actually reach the surface. But that becomes a different story once we move into around 6 a.m. on November the 1st. We're looking at those two to meet up very closely. So that means that we're seeing that dry air weakening, and we're looking at it's really being suppressed. And then we're looking at more of that moisture moving into the area, which means that we are going to be looking at more raindrops actually reaching the ground once you're going back to work and even school on the morning of November the 1st. Now, this rain could linger around for quite some time throughout the week. Models are kind of differentiating on whether this just becomes a Wednesday event or whether this kind of becomes a multi-day event where we see several rounds of showers and even some thunderstorms embedded in there from Wednesday onwards. So I do think Wednesday is going to have some showers, but Thursday's questionable, and so is Friday. We could have some showers still around the vicinity there. Not really any strong signals pointing towards at least heavy rain at this point, but some off and on showers on Thursday and Friday could definitely be a good bet. Wednesday, we could actually look at some heavier showers, but Thursday and Friday, maybe even if this lingers into Saturday, would just be a light variety of your showers. And as we move into Sunday, we see an area of low pressure form to our northwest, well off to our northwest, and we know by now that when that happens, we look at excessively warm temperatures moving into our region. So this little cold spell that we're entering into right now that will last throughout most of this week, it ends by this upcoming next weekend because of this low pressure system. It moves through and it does its business. It brings snow to portions of Canada, but it brings plenty of rain and maybe even thunderstorms to portions of our midsection of the country, which does include our region. So this is going to filter in some rather chilly air for the northwest, but for us, we think that we're going to linger on with those warmer than average temperatures. As we go into Monday, like I said, those colder than average temperatures are still just locked off to our northwest, and we see that warmer regime still holding on in our region, even though that cold front moves through. It might not really bring the temperatures down a whole lot. That's a week out from now, so things could definitely change. This cold air could definitely push a little bit further south, It does have potential to, but right now it doesn't look like it is going to. Here's the trough around midweek. We start off the week rather chilly and below average with temperatures, but as we move into your upcoming weekend around November the 4th, we're looking at that ridging to take back its place like it had around the middle of October, and it's going to do its business. It's going to bring warmer than average temperatures, and it's going to bother some of our vegetation that thought that we already killed it all from our freeze that we're about to have on Sunday morning, and even some of us this morning on Saturday morning. It is going to cause some confusion across our vegetation areas, but nonetheless, we're still looking at rather warm temperatures moving in for that time frame. Here's our 16-day temperatures. This is actually looking pretty accurate to me, at least in the first half of the week. Temperatures are going to slightly warm up going into Monday, but then we see that little bitty system move in around Tuesday and Wednesday. It causes temperatures to cool down, and that's not only one thing that's causing it to cool down, but we actually have another cold front moving through, which is also going to knock down temperatures. It is planning to stall out across portions of our area. Right now, it's questionable on where it stalls out, but it is going to stall out, and just north of it, temperatures will be very cold, but just south of it, temperatures are going to be quite warm. So wherever that boundary sets up is going to be questionable on temperatures around the middle of the week. I think that it is going to move through our region, maybe become stationary just south of the Purchase area in portions of northwest Tennessee, but it will for sure move back north as a warm front, which is why we will be seeing such warm temperatures, and that warm front will come up and associate with that area of low pressure. So it's all kind of linking together, and that is going to enter in some very warm temperatures for the end of this week into next weekend. Temperatures actually could approach or exceed 70 degrees, which would be actually around 5 to even 10 degrees above the average. So this is going to be another warm spell moving in. But if the GFS is correct, at least the ensembles, we cool back down around the middle of the month back to average. But we'll watch that very closely. Here's the rain over the next at least 7 days, and you can tell that we see a very fair stripe of rain moving through the area, so we'll have to keep an eye on totals. Right now, I don't think they're going to be this heavy. I think the WPC, they usually have a tend to go a little bit biased towards heavier totals, but I do think that we're going to at least see around a half inch of rain. Some of us could see up to an inch. I think over an inch is pushing it, but it really just depends, like I said, that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, however that rain decides to linger around will really be the deciding factor on whether we see 1 inch totals or even 2 inch totals. It just really depends on how long that rain lingers around and how intense it really is. But right now, Wednesday is the key day of rain, with heavier rain on that day as well. Thursday and Friday and maybe Saturday are questionable, but plan on showers on those days. Plan on spotty showers, plan on some clouds, plan on a warm-up going into the second half of this week.